Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast. It is a great Wednesday evening here in Lexington, Kentucky, where I'm broadcasting from for episode number 478. And joining me tonight in just a couple of minutes in the co-hosting spot is the loquacious, vivacious, and audacious Holly Phillippe. But she's running a couple of minutes behind, just getting ready to get on log in here in just a moment. So you're stuck with me just for a few. And the chat room is open and working. And of course, we always take questions, comments, and all that kind of good stuff from there. And the first in tonight is the amazing award-winning screenwriter and author Carol Preflattish, first in the house tonight. So yeah, one of these days, we'll get to the point where we actually have maybe some kind of prize for that. But now we can just give you recognition. And of course, follow Star Chamber Show on Instagram, on Facebook, on Blue Sky, and also on Blue Sky. I need to make sure I always get those all of them in there. But it's Facebook, X, Blue Sky, and Instagram. That's where the Star Chamber Show can be found. And of course, the day after the live shows, you can catch this on all the popular platforms. Of course, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all those kind of places, Apple Podcasts. So yes, we will be, of course, releasing that tomorrow because you are listening to the live show tonight. And of course, this is affiliated with the Imaginarium Convention. So in the first segment of the show, we always like to give you the updates on the latest that's happened in the last week. And it's been a lot of activity going on for Imaginarium. We just had concluded our early bird discount phase, and it went really, really well. Definitely the biggest launch month we've had for an Imaginarium yet. And so thank you to everybody that came aboard early. That does help, and of course gives everybody a chance to get a very big discount on event tickets and vendor spaces. So yes, now we have. Oh, there she is. There she is. There's Holly. She just came in. I think. It looks like you are.
I am here.
Holly?
Yeah.
You are here. Okay. I was just telling them that the early discount period has just concluded.
Yes.
But don't lose heart, because this year we, got to like a lot of major conferences and we have a 3-stage pricing now with our advanced event tickets. So now we have what's called our regular discount for advanced event tickets, and there's also a discount on the single day event tickets. So that will run until January the 1st. January the 1st, everything will move to regular pricing. Now, these aren't as big of a discount as the early bird, but they are, you do get a nice little bit off. And so if you, miss the early bird period, don't lose heart. You can take advantage of that. Those just became active. And we also opened up our ad space for the Imaginarium 2026 program. And so that is available now for reservation. You don't have to get your artwork in until June even, so of next year. So, but if you want to reserve your space, you can do so with quarter page, half page, full page ads. And then we also put those in both our print and digital editions. We give the print version out to everybody at the convention. And then, of course, the digital edition is made available for public downloads. That gives it an extra bit of exposure. We get a ton of those downloads. And we even continue to get those downloaded throughout the year, whatever the latest Imaginarium has been. We do continue to get downloads of the program. So the ads do get seen quite a bit. And then, of course, last but not least, we have some new guests to share with you from the last week. We did welcome aboard 4 new panelists and 1 new spotlighted guest. And on the panelist side of things, we welcomed author and publisher Mangala McNamara and also author Ariella Talix. And so, yes, they're both aboard as panelists. We also today welcomed author and publisher Sarah Marion. Yes, one of the literary triumvirate at Per Bastet Publications. And we also welcomed aboard author, editor, and publisher Sharon Marie Provost. Yeah, she is really awesome. So, yeah, you're going to love meeting all of them at Imaginarium next summer. And then you will also get to see our spotlighted guest that we announced, and that would be author and podcaster Ava Vertris. Yes, Ava, the co-host of Vamp Chat with Dan and Ava, and great great show that's also here on Podbean. And they are just doing fantastic in their third season, and definitely near and dear to Holly and myself. Yeah, they do some great stuff for the creative community. Very supportive folks. So I think that brings you up to date on all the news that I have, at least. I don't know what Holly has for you, but
Holly's
that's
just been
that's my
busy.
side. Holly's just been busy. Yes, yes, and I
I've
see. Yeah,
literally not taken any breaks today. None.
no,
I started at 9:15, which is too damn early for me, but I did. And then I ran around. I had to do play taxi for 2 hours with the grandkids and such. And so running them all over back and forth. And then back to business work, then made dinner, then cleaned up dinner, and then back to business work. And here I am. So I did get a quick shower, but yeah.
yep. And we can't say names, but Holly had a very exciting day because the
I
management
did.
for a very major celebrity got back in touch with Holly today
Yeah, they did.
regarding Imaginarium. So this is a cool little development. So fingers crossed. We can't say who it is, but
Oh, please,
we
guys, if you throw any good juju, any
certainly,
good, throw it,
yeah.
throw
Yeah,
it our way.
we will let you know immediately if this gets confirmed. But we've gotten far enough that at least management's willing to talk to us, so that's
Oh,
usually a good sign. A good sign. And hey, it looks like the mighty Amy McCorkle is in the chat room now, and we got Nessa Brown. Yes, Nessa Brown, fantastic writer, now is in the house. And so yes, but
Carol
yeah,
Pre-Flatted,
yes.
she's in
Yep, she was
there.
first. Yeah, I said earlier, I said we've got to get to the point where we get large enough to give prizes each week for the first person in the chat room.
That's true.
Because
That's
we never
true.
have any. I
We
mean,
have
I'd
a
love to
ton of
give more.
people that do that listen to the recorded.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's where
we
a lot
do.
of them are. But hey, you don't have as much fun because you're not in chat. See, you
Yeah,
can be in
gotta
chat
join.
here.
Yeah, join us. Yeah, if you're listening to the recorded, streamed, or downloaded version, yeah, you got to come in on the live show. Yeah, because this is where all the craziness definitely takes place, and we always have some great folks and hanging out in the chat room. Yeah, to interact with and banter with, and certainly, yeah, definitely, we've been known to take a lot of comments from there for the show itself. But we'll go ahead and give you the folks that brought you tonight's show, and then we're going to get to our featured guest of the evening, who Holly and I are very stoked to have aboard. Going to be awesome, and can't wait. Can't wait. This is the first appearance by this guest, and first of what I hope will be many, many to come. But tonight, the show is brought to you by Sandy Lender, the Genre Blender, and the fine folks at Per Bostet Publications. And of course, we mentioned just earlier that Sarah Marion is returning as one of our panelists in 2026. So, yeah, we've got a little bit of a per best stat theme going in our first segment of the night. But first, we'll give you a little bit from Sandy, and then we'll give you a little bit about Per Bostet. Here's Sandy.
Start Chamber listeners already know that author Sandy Lender offers you a variety of spec fiction and epic fantasy adventures to help you escape reality. Did you know she also offers positive, quirky book discussions and reviews on her BookTube channel, Sandy Says Read? Check out the Sandy Says Read channel on YouTube for over 600 book chats to entertain you. The channel includes the Indie Book Spotlight and the DIY for Creatives playlists, along with others to help you find videos and essays that pique your literary interests. Subscribe for free to the Sandy Says Read channel in time for the Monday night upload and join the community where our motto is, you can always find something good in a book.
Thank you, Sandy. And yes, definitely go to YouTube, find Sandy Says Read channel, and subscribe to it. It's free, and she's got loads and
And
loads of
it's
good
fun.
content. Yeah.
And you'll want to read like every book that she reviews.
Yes, reviews some great. She's definitely, there's a lot of titles out there, and so it's hard to, find out which are the, really gems out there when there's just tons of stuff being released. Let me tell you, Sandy helps you distill that down, and she picks good ones for her channel. So that's a
Oh,
good
she
way to
does.
find some good stuff to read. And she always has got some great commentary on the indie book world and events and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, check it out. It's a great channel, and Sandy's awesome. So thank you, Sandy. And Per Bustet, we'll give you a little bit here on them. Purbastet Publications is a small press based in the Louisville metro area, specializing in speculative fiction and other outside the box books. With 40 titles in print and ebook formats and a handful of audiobooks, Purbastet offers a little bit of everything. Check out Frenemies in Space, Marion Allen's new science fiction short story collection featuring return character Smart Mouth Connie Phelan. Or try Michael Dabney's latest David Blaze mystery, A Deadly Game, a prequel set in 1984 Philly. You can find these titles and more at purbastetpublications.com, at Amazon, or you can find the press in person at Kentucky and Indiana book fairs and conventions. Purbastet Publications, where timeless tales unfold. And big salute to Teely Harris, Sarah Marion, and Marion Allen. And so, yes, Holly, we're gonna, even though it's still a couple of minutes until our normal time for the guest segment, our fine guest is already on deck and waiting. So, tell you what, I think we should go right ahead.
I think so.
Let's do this. And so tonight's guest is both an author and a book marketing specialist. He writes thrillers and horror fiction short stories, and launched his first novel, Frozen Echoes, through the amazing Undertaker Books. And big shout out to Rebecca Cuthbert there. And he also completed his Master of Fine Arts degree in writing popular fiction last year at Seton Hill University. And yes, I did mention he is a publishing industry marketing strategist by day. And then by July, he is also a guest at Imaginarium. Yes, he has been a guest at Imaginarium. And so I'm welcoming aboard for the very first time, and hopefully first of many to come, the one, the only, Ed Downs. And Ed, you should be aboard right now. Your mic should be active. It better be.
Can you hear me?
There he is.
It's got a little bit of a delay.
Hey,
Slight delay. There you are.
awesome.
You are.
Can you hear him? Do I sound all right?
You sound great. I can hear you.
Excellent. Oh, well, I am so psyched to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me onto this podcast. This is the first podcast I've ever been on, ever.
Really?
I find that hard to believe without how savvy and how much of a go-getter you are. I can't believe
it's the first time I've ever been interviewed about my writing and about the things I do in the book world. So
that is awesome.
Yeah.
So we're creating history tonight.
Fun. It's going to be fun.
Let me tell you, Ed is one to watch. I had the great honor of first meeting Ed when Holly and I were at a fabulous weekend writing retreat. And then also I should mention that Nessa Brown, who was in the chat room, was also there. And we got to spend a great weekend with Ed. And at that time, the foundation for Frozen Echoes was in motion. But then you got the contract with the awesome Rebecca Cuthbert, who is a big favorite of ours, and Undertaker Books released it. And wow, I mean, you definitely being well received and just amazing writing. And
I do want to say that your book, Frozen Echoes, is in my to read pile on my little bedside table here. So,
it is.
Yes,
I see it there, and the cats have even come over and put their paws on it. So I think
they have. They sure do.
It's cat approved.
Yes,
it is kitty approved, 100%.
Yeah.
So you had. Oh, go ahead.
It's got the tuxedo approval.
Yes,
that's exactly right. That's awesome. Well, you had a different career before the writing world. So how in the world did you get into this lovely world that we're all in of creative writing?
So I have a day job. My day job, I'm a project manager for a pharmaceutical company. I manage a portfolio of projects for all the brands. We build the websites for all the products, and so that's what I do during the day. Basically, the way I started writing is in around 2020 when COVID hit. I needed to figure out something to do with my time, and I don't drink, so that was not an option. And couldn't really leave the house, and I didn't want to spend all my time just sitting in front of the television. So I decided, I'm going to learn how to write. I'm going to learn how to write fiction. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into. the the rabbit hole that was involved. I figured it'd just be something fun to do. Never
Uh-huh.
dreamed that I would share my stories with anyone or publish them or anything like that. I just figured I would take all the damaged stories out in the world that always upset me the way they ended them or they were poorly written or and whatnot. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna change these up and make my own versions of things and end things the way I want them to end. And so I just started, writing, and I said, how can I do this faster? So I said, I'm gonna go to school and learn how to write. So I enrolled in Seton Hill Master's program,
Nice.
and that sort of fast tracked it a little bit for me, and gave me some accountability, which was probably the biggest thing because you have to each month you have to turn in a certain number of pages of completed work, and so that's how I got started.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I
Wow.
still can't believe that you only kind of formally started your writing path just a few years ago. Because Frozen Echoes is so well written,
Thank
and yeah,
you.
I couldn't believe that it was just such a relatively speaking short period of time there. But tell us a little bit about how meeting Rebecca, and she was also at that workshop. That really was an
Yeah.
amazing workshop.
Yes.
And
So
yeah,
so the Michael's workshop in West Virginia,
yeah.
basically, it was sold to me as, hey, a writing workshop at a cabin in the woods for horror writers. And
What could go wrong?
yeah, what could go wrong? My wife's like, make sure your life insurance is all up to date before you go, and don't hide behind the chainsaws and all that kind of stuff. And so we went, and the workshop was just amazing. Nessa was there, Rebecca was there, uh, Steve was there, Holly, you were there as well, and I think Tim Wagner was there, right? Was
Yep.
that was
Yes,
it?
Mhm.
yes,
Yep,
Tim was there.
and yep, and it was just really great, and we workshopped the opening to Frozen Echoes. It was I was just trying to make the opening of that book be more interesting. So I submitted, I think the first, I don't know, few chapters of
Mhm.
that as my work to be critiqued by the group, and I got some really amazing feedback that really made a difference in making that opening more exciting. So that's how that came about. And I met Rebecca at that workshop,
Mhm.
and she called me up about a month later and asked me, "Is Frozen Echoes still available?" And I said, "Yeah, it's still available." She said, "I want it. I want to publish it. I want to bring it into Undertaker Books and publish it next year." And I said, "Okay, let's talk." And we worked it all out, and that's how that got launched. And it just launched in May.
Mhm. And I also
Yeah.
should mention, I mean, that's a big, amount of faith that she had in you because Undertaker Books, this is their first year as a
Yeah.
publisher, and so, they're
Yeah,
making their first impression, their first mark with their first releases, and
Yes.
so they have to take that, any publisher has to take any release carefully, of course, but coming out, in your first year as a publisher, you really, need to set the tone,
So you really
and
impressed.
yes,
Yeah.
and you had to really impress her to be one of the first batch out there, from
yeah.
Undertaker.
I just it worked out great, and they've been a pleasure to work with.
Mhm,
You know, Winchester, D.L. Winchester, Joe. He was the editor that I've been working with. He's actually working on a short story of mine right now for an anthology they're publishing, called Moonlit Reckoning. It's a horror western that's going to be in their western. So I'm really excited about that because that was my first taste of writing any kind of western. I think that's only the second or third short story I've ever written. Um, I don't know if you know my history, but I grew up. I have dyslexia, and I went
Wow.
to a special high school, actually junior high and high school for kids with dyslexia, and I had a graduating high school class of 5 people, and I was the first person from that school to ever go to college. And
Really?
so yeah, so writing for me was a true labor back in the day, and reading was very difficult, and it's just one of those things that I never really got into until probably, 10 years ago, I started reading more, more for pleasure, and becoming more proficient in reading, and lately, just in the past 5 years, writing. So this is and now the process of the writing for me is really the main reward, even if it never gets published. Just developing that skill set and overcoming those deficiencies and those I don't know what you would call it. I guess just those challenges to become better at it
Challenges.
and master that thing that had always been something that I felt like I would never be able to do, and now to be able to
Right.
do it and do it well.
You feel like
Mhm.
you've overcome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The next thing for me is like if I can, I'm submitting Frozen Echoes everywhere I can. If I can win an award of some kind for it this year, that would be like the true triumph for me. There'd be like I guess it would make it all just kind of feel great. So that's
Yeah,
what I'm doing right now is I'm submitting that to all different places, and I keep getting reviews. People keep writing reviews on Amazon,
Nice.
and they're all good reviews. I haven't seen a bad one yet. I'm waiting for that to happen, but I'll take the good ones.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
I've I've got four more manuscripts already completed. Um,
wow,
and I'm working through developmental edits on one, and some line edits on another, and gonna start submitting those, for querying pretty soon here. So yeah,
nice. That is
You
fantastic.
are chugging along.
You are,
yeah,
and I am excited about the West. It seems like, yeah, we got a lot of people getting the Western bug. Michael Nost,
Yes.
obviously, but seeing you doing some kind of a horror Western, and then Rebecca, with the anthology there, that is awesome. And I must say though, Ed, you are a natural in the hat though, because you wore the cowboy hat over at Imaginarium, and so yeah,
yes,
you are ready for
Yes.
that, and
It's
and
true.
and.
not
Yeah,
not too many opportunities, to wear cowboy hat, here in North Carolina. It's just not very many people wear them.
yeah,
But I'll any chance I can, I'll pull that thing out of the closet and I'll put that thing on my head.
yeah,
And
you're ready to do the promos and appearances for that
yeah, yeah,
anthology for sure.
Definitely. Definitely.
But and I must say, yeah, I love that picture of you and Rebecca, because she had unfortunately had hit her head and had to get a little patch of hair
Yeah.
shaved before coming down, so she had to wear a hat
yeah,
at Imaginarium. But like
Mhm.
I told her, I said that is
Oh my
that is
God, it
your look,
worked.
that iconic look, Rebecca.
Truth.
Yeah, I said you've discovered an iconic
Yeah.
look, with that hat. And then the two of you had that picture together. I was like, that's like an Undertaker Books kind of, had a little
yeah.
motif there.
Yeah.
It's almost like we were on our way to the
Yeah,
Kentucky Derby and we stopped
right.
by at Imaginarium to say hi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it isn't too far, because Churchill Downs is not all that far from where we're located. So
No.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, not at all. But
Not a
awesome.
very far trip.
no, no, not at all. But yeah, tell us a little bit about, because I love things that are set in, that have a setting that entails Antarctica, and I love all the lore with it, and I can go on deep dives on a number of historical things with Antarctica, and I love that world. But yeah, I want you to give us a insight and preview of Frozen Echoes for those listeners that have not read this
Sure.
yet.
Yes, so I love to read stories that have a sense of dread, and I find no better way to set dread than to put characters in isolation of some kind, and and create a feeling of either isolation or claustrophobia, or
Ugh.
that type of a sensation. And so in this particular story, the main setting is in Antarctica, and it doesn't get more isolated than that, unless you're 1,000 feet underwater and you can't come to the surface without decompression. I mean, that's probably the only thing I could think of that would be worse, which I am working on right now in a different story. But yeah, it's one of those things where I love the movie The Thing, and I love other movies that I've seen that take place in Antarctica. I think there was a Val Kilmer one called The Thaw, was a
Hmm.
pretty good one that
Yeah.
had some horror in it, some body horror and some parasitic stuff going on there, and that was pretty great. And so by putting these characters in Antarctica, it just automatically creates tension, and there's no easy way for them to escape what they're facing. So sometimes the only way to escape is to go through, and so that's kind of what they're forced to do. And without giving away the story itself, I mean, it's a research station in Antarctica. There's the normal things going on at a research station, with research, looking at penguins and measuring ice shelves and things like that. And then the new interns are showing up to do their rotation. And during the briefing of this, the new interns being there, one of the main scientists' associates comes into and interrupts the briefing and mentions that they just found a helicopter that crashed over the mountain, and so they need to go check it out. When they go to check it out, they find a old wooden sailing ship from the 1700s that has kind of come through the ice, and then they detect a signal coming from a mile below that down in the ice. So, and then,
Oh,
then things unfold from there, and it's just a great story. There's two main characters. One's a guy. His name is Flint Hill, and he's an older research scientist at Antarctica. In fact, he plans on dying there someday. And then the other main character, her journey starts in the Amazon jungle, and she's an antiquities specialist. And their two paths start separate in separate locations. And about halfway through the story, they come together, and then they work together for the rest of the story. So that's sort of what's going on there. And there's a lot of ticking time bomb, ticking clock type of tension going on there. And there's sort of the monster in the house, monster under the bed type of tension as well. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to write, and I just when I create an outline, my outlines are generally somewhere between 50 and 80 pages long. So that's just for the
mhm.
outline. Scene by scene, whose point of view is it? What is I'm trying to do? What's the conflict for that scene? So I'm definitely a plotter, right? And so
Mm.
I really enjoy putting stories together. I've always been really good at that. It's just lately I've learned how to do the mechanics of it, of actually the writing, but building the stories has always been natural for me.
That's awesome. And yeah, I knew you definitely weren't a pantser.
Yeah.
but but now, as far as the book goes, I mean, I found it to be a mix of. I mean, I know that when publishers release things, they have to put market to a certain genre to really get the most awareness raised on it. But I did find this one does bring together it's kind of a little bit of a cross genre kind of thing going on. I saw thriller elements, horror elements. I saw science fiction elements. I mean, it's got a lot of cool elements that I think readers of several various genres would like this, book quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's what I found at least. Yeah.
I enjoy doing, I guess Rebecca calls it a mash of genres. Is that what she called it? Something like that?
Mhm.
But it's basically, I know you're supposed to pick one so that it has a
Mhm.
place to sit on a shelf at a bookstore.
Right. Mhm.
I didn't know that until after I wrote this. I'm just kind of learning as I go. But what I did is I kind of put together the story that I would want to read, and some of the authors that I like to read. I like Clive Cussler, I like James Rollins, I like Preston and Child, especially Preston and Child. They have some fringy, sciency type of stories, especially with their Jeremy Logan character, who's an entomologist who, not entomologist, but what do they call it? Anyway, he studies enigmologist, something like that. But he studies weird things that are going on and tries to figure out if it's science or something else going on behind the scenes, and gets into adventures as a result. So I just was writing what I like to read,
Mhm.
and it's a little weird. It doesn't really fit into one category. But if I
Well,
had to put it in a category, I would say that it was science fiction thriller with a horror edge, I guess is how I describe it. Um,
I think that's perfect.
I was going to say
yeah.
the multi-genre books like that, you are not putting yourself in a box. You're outside the box. So you are attracting readers from all different genres. And, you may have a horror reader read your book that normally wouldn't have read a book, that type. But because they're horror readers, they're like, oh, it's got some horror elements. I'm going to read this. And then they find out, ooh, well, I like these, this other genre touch in there. And I like, and so you'll start pulling, from all these different areas of
Mhm.
readers that if you
Readers, yeah.
just stuck with one genre, you
Mhm.
wouldn't have otherwise picked up.
Yes. Yeah. I don't read in one genre. Like right now, I'm reading a Michael Conley book. I think the one before that was what was it? It was Ronald Malfi. So I'm all over the place as far as reading, and I
Yeah,
think there's probably a
I
lot of
saw your
people out there that
Facebook
are like
post.
that.
Yeah, I saw your Facebook post. You were got to meet him in person down at BoucherCon. I saw that post you
Yeah,
made.
it's
That
really
was
cool. I
cool.
also met Craig Johnson down there, and Brad Thor, and
Nice.
A.
I like that.
Martinez was there, and Ron Malfi was there. I mean, it was really just a great time. We had a really nice time.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a great writers convention for sure. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and like you, yeah, I definitely not only read multi-genre myself, but I advocate it for writers. I
Yep.
think it's really healthy, to be reading different types of writing when
Yeah.
you're when you're storytelling. Because
Yep.
a speculative fiction writer can learn a lot from a really good like mystery writer or literary fiction writer. I mean, there's all kinds of techniques and tidbits that you can pull from writers of genres that you may not write in yourself. Yeah, I've always thought that, and yeah, I mean yours. I mean I mean it's a really beautiful release too because I believe Lynn Hansen did the cover on it, right?
Yes, big
Yeah,
shout out to Lynn Hansen.
yeah.
She is so talented. I wanted her to do
Yes.
my cover before this book was even completed. Before I had signed it with Undertaker Books, I had wanted her to do my cover, and for like 2 years,
Hmm.
actually, I wanted her to do my cover on the book that I was working on before this book, which I ended up putting aside because it really wasn't very good. But I'm now revisiting it. But yeah, she's amazing. She's a pleasure to work with, and
Hmm.
Yes.
I would imagine that hopefully she'll be willing to do my covers going forward as well.
Yeah, she is such an amazing artist, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
definitely
Yes.
a favorite of Holly's and mine. And
Yes.
yeah, she's been yeah next summer. Yeah, she's going to be down under in Australia, I believe,
Wow.
during Imaginarium time. I think that's what it
Yeah.
was with Holly. I
Yeah.
think if I remember right.
Yeah, it's too
But
bad.
yeah, we just think the world of her. And your
I
cover
love
is
Imaginarium.
absolutely your cover is absolutely fantastic. I mean, people, if you have not seen it yet, I mean, definitely, yeah, go online now and while you're listening tonight and check this cover out because, yeah, it definitely
Yeah, it's
represents her
cool.
well and it fits perfectly. I mean, it definitely tone wise and colors and everything else. It really, the tone of the book is really well represented.
And she gave us a choice. She gave us two versions of the cover, right?
Wow,
Oh wow.
that's
Shells or no shells. And if you've seen the cover, you know what I'm
yeah,
talking about.
yep,
Huh.
On
that's cool.
what do they call that on the front of the boat? The person on the front of the boat, the figurehead there.
On
But
the
it's like
prow,
yeah, it's a
yeah,
mermaid. But yeah, she said shells or no shells,
yeah.
and my editor is
Oh
like,
yeah.
no, we're definitely going with shells. This is a family friendly publishing.
Nice. That
No
is
So
cool.
naked
yeah,
mermaids.
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, no, but it turned out beautifully. And are you as far as the book goes, is it going to remain a standalone or is it possibly going to have is there any kind of franchise thing coming out of this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get that question probably about every 2 weeks. Somebody asks me that question,
Mhm.
and because the end, as you know, it sort of leaves it open as a
Mm-hmm.
possibility
Yep.
that it could have a follow-on story, or it could even have an origin story for either of the main characters as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many things that could be done with this story, and the direction that a follow-on story could go in is wide open and I'm not going to give away the ending.
Right.
But yeah, the way things are left, it's like, oh my goodness, like, what happens to these people? But I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna leave it at that. But that's definitely a possibility. um, the two stories that I'm polishing right now, one is a working title, Angel, and it's about a young girl that's made from the DNA of a fallen angel that they find this DNA in a cave, and a frozen angel, and then she's made in a lab, and then she's escapes from the lab, like the lab scientist that created her sneaks her out of the lab and tries to raise her as his own, but then the lab comes for her.
Oh,
And yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. It's got sort of almost a Stranger Things splice um, type of vibe to it. Another one I'm working on is called Lake Lure, and that one is set in North Carolina in the mountains, and that's got a sort of almost a modern western. It's a female protagonist. She's a convalescing sheriff. So she's from the Boston Police Department, but she is injured in the line of duty. So she goes to recover at her grandmother's cabin in Lake Lure, and where she used to spend her summers. And her old friend, who's now the local sheriff of Lake Lure, comes to visit her and asks her if she'd be a second set of eyes on a case of a couple that was just murdered, and the couple has a connection to sort of black ops underground laboratory that's in the area doing shady experiments. So that's another one I'm working on. So there's got a couple things that I'm working on as well that look very promising. Both have piqued interest of a couple of agent people, so that's pretty cool. I've been talking to
nice.
one agent that has asked me to polish both of those stories a certain way for her to look at, which could lead to an agent relationship for that. So that's pretty cool.
That's exciting, and I mean, you are definitely
Yeah.
getting into an area that I love because I am a huge enthusiast for anything involving Enochian lore, the
Yes.
Nephilim,
Yeah.
anything with the Watchers, all that stuff,
Oh, nice.
and especially I do
That's
a lot of.
Steven's jam.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
and I read, constantly on that topic, and especially with the DNA aspects and stuff. So yeah, that's
Ah.
I got to read that.
I might have to
Yeah,
run a couple of things by you because I
Yeah,
just
I was
had
gonna say if you want a brain to
yeah,
pick his
yeah,
brain because
yeah.
yeah, he's done a lot of research. Yeah,
Oh, that's great. I'm doing
oh
some
yeah, all the
developmental
time.
editing on that one right now.
Cool.
And yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Michael Nost, who it looks like he just joined. Um,
Hey,
he did
what's
Nasty.
a
that?
yeah, he did a pass of editing on Angel for me recently, and he came back with some amazing feedback, some great things that I can do to improve the story, and a lot of work ahead of me. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong. He definitely spotted some things that I just completely missed. So that was an investment well put
that's
to
what
have him
Michael Nust.
take a look at.
That's what he's known to do.
Yeah.
He's-
Yep.
His ears must have been burning with our comments earlier that involved him and
Yeah.
that fine workshop we all went to. So I'm
Yep.
glad he joined the chat room on that. That is fantastic. But
Yeah.
yeah. Sometime we'll have to have a long evening chat about the Nephilim and all that good stuff because that's a lot of
Yeah.
fun. That's
Yeah. That
And
fun.
I
was a
want
fun
to give
story
a
to write.
shout out real quick to Nessa. Thank you for the little present you sent
Oh,
in the chat.
the pod points. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you
She
very
sent a
Yay.
much.
cake. She sent a cake.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nessa's the
Yeah.
best. I love
Yeah.
Nessa.
Oh
Shit.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
But go ahead, Ed. What was you
Oh yeah, yeah. So the angel story, that was the first
yeah.
story I ever wrote. And so it's going to require a lot of work to clean it up because I just had no idea what I was doing. I still don't, but at least I have a little more of an idea of what I'm doing than I did. But this was the very first thing that I ever wrote, and so there's a lot of holes in it. So I'm very blessed that Michael was able to take a look at it, and provide his professional feedback on how to improve it. That's also one of my favorite stories because it has so much potential, um, to be great. So
Oh yeah, definitely. And
yeah,
there is a big big fan base out there for that topic area. So don't worry, you got plenty to market to when
I
that one
heard
comes
somebody
out.
call it Weird Girl or something like that, or I don't know.
But no, it'll be that's I'm looking forward to that. That's gonna be a lot of
Yeah,
fun. And so
one
what?
one piece of
Oh,
feedback that I got from the agent that I've been talking to is she said that um, young adult is not as popular as it was a few years ago, and she wanted me to make the little girl that is in that story be 22 years old, and I'm like, oh my god, that's a lot of rework throughout the whole story. So I don't know how I'm going to deal with that. So I'm still kind of getting my head around what would that do to the story. She said
well,
if I leave it the little girl, I need to change the main point of view to be a different character, and that would really change a lot of the story as well because a lot of the scenes are the little girl's point of view. So it's just one of those stories that it might just be something that needs to be completely rebuilt from the ground up, and maybe half of it can be salvaged. I just don't know, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that one.
very cool. So yeah,
Yeah.
choices to be made.
Yes,
Definitely.
exactly. But
Yeah,
that's part of the
yeah,
fun.
Yeah,
It's like when you're writing this stuff, you want to get it done as soon as you can because you want to get on to the next thing because for me part of the fun is coming up with the ideas and then getting them done. But when you have to go back and rework the same one over and over again, that can sometimes be tedious and frustrating, but it can also be fun because you want to put out the best possible story you can. But yeah,
absolutely.
it's a double-edged sword.
it is.
And now you are no stranger to the part of the book world that all the authors, most of them hate this phase, and that's the marketing phase.
Oh
And
yeah.
Marketing.
so I wanted to get into a little of that because you happen to do a lot of work in that area and have worked with some pretty notable authors as far as
Yeah.
book marketing and that kind of thing. So tell us what you can and what you can share about that part of your world, and then talk about maybe a little bit about some of the things that authors have find a mystery sometimes, like author marketing platforms or building email lists. I'd love to just touch on that a little
Right.
bit.
So yeah, so there's three areas that I kind of have become an expert in, right? The first area is, building and rolling out an author platform. And when I say author platform, that includes a website, social media presence, getting started with an email list, things like that, right? So just the bread and butter, platform. The second thing is doing a book launch, right? So like setting up a 90-day plan to launch a new book, and especially if you're an independent publisher or author. And the third thing is ongoing marketing for the purpose of building your reader list. So after you've built your platform and established your email marketing list, now it's time to build that list to get people to subscribe. And so that's a big part of what I do. Um, and so I've been in the marketing world since I want to say I owned a couple of gyms up in Massachusetts back in 2005. And around 2008, I got out of the business because the economy was really bad and it just was no longer a viable business to be in. And so I got out of that and started becoming a student of marketing and internet marketing and selling info products and courses, creating courses, online courses, things like that, and teaching people how to do marketing. And so I've just been doing that forever. And I have, over the years, just that's what I've done as a career. And that's what
Mm,
I've done on the side. And in the past want to say 5 years since I started getting into writing, I've started really focusing those superpowers specifically in writing and publishing and really
Mhm.
fine tuning that and learning what works and what doesn't work. And I had the fortunate opportunity to work with a couple of organizations that really got my foot in the door. One was International Thriller Writers Association. So I got to do some website work for them, their Thriller Fest website and helping with that. Also got to do some marketing and list building for them as well. Help them build their subscriber list and also help with promoting the Thriller Fest event. So that was great to be behind the scenes and helping contribute to that. And then that opened up a door for me to work with Harlan Coben and his Birds of Prey launch, his book launch. And I got to do that, not only the book version, but also the Audible. And so I get to work with the internal Audible team over at Amazon, the executives there, and I get to work with Harlan Coben's team, as well as we partnered with International Thriller Writers Association on that one as well. So I did all the Facebook ads, I did all the web pages for that, I did all of the social media and marketing for that book launch, and that really gave me it filled in all the gaps that I had on how to apply marketing specifically to authors. And so ever since then, I've been helping authors, launch their platform, build their mailing lists, and do their book launches. And so I've worked with quite a few other authors since then. So and that's sort of become my passion. Now I still have my day job, and I love my day job. Working for the pharmaceutical company, but doing the same thing, doing digital marketing, website work. I'm a program manager, project manager over there, so I'm managing projects for content creation and editing the websites that they have for the products. But someday it would be really amazing if my main source of income came from primarily working with authors and publishers in the marketing world on the one hand, and then have my writing be the other part. And just if I could, make a living doing those things, that would just be an amazing, amazing world to be in. So that's kind of what I've been doing and kind of where I'm
Wow.
going.
Well, I can
That's
tell you
that's
that is
ooh,
awesome, but I can tell you just in interacting with lots and lots and lots and lots of authors, that's the phase that most of them hate the
yep,
most. So there is a
yep.
need for somebody like you,
There's
and a lot
definitely
of
a
authors
need,
would like to, yeah, hire somebody.
and the
Yeah,
fact that you've
it's
wrote a book,
yeah,
you are an author, you know
uh-huh.
the ins and outs and what goes into a creation, and your blood, sweat, and tears, and that's your baby, and so you get it, you understand it,
Yeah.
and so people are going to trust you, to take their babies and and do them right.
Right, right. And I love teaching this stuff. Like at Imaginarium this summer, I got to teach. It was called "If You Build It, They Will Come," and it was all about how to build your author platform. And I got to teach that, and that was amazing. I got to teach that at StokerCon. That was very cool. I got to teach it at In Your Right Mind. And that was amazing. And it's in my blood to do that. And I'm creating courses now, online courses around that I'll release in the coming year.
Oh, neat.
And I've got a secret project I can mention a little bit here that I'm
Ah,
working on
scoop,
right now. That'll
a scoop.
be
Scoop.
yes, it'll be in the coming year, probably the very beginning of the year. So you know how authors, that's in business, but authors, they have to go out and they have to get a website. Then they have to, if they're going to do any kind of automation for social media, they have to pay for a tool that they're going to do their automation for social media. And if they want to, do a blog, they got to set that up. And if they want to do an email list, they've got to pay for like a MailChimp or something like that and load all the content and all that. Well, I'm in the process of building a tool or in partnering with a software company that has all of that under one
Oh wow.
dashboard. So you log in,
Wow.
your social media is there, your website's there, your blog, your ability to do a podcast, your email marketing list. all of it's there. You can even scheduling social media posts, so you can load your social media posts for the whole month if you want, and just then set it and forget it. You don't have to think about it again. You just schedule it.
Oh wow.
I want this post to go to Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest on Friday at 4 o'clock, and then I want this one to go to these platforms, and you can just upload all those at once, and then that way you don't have days on end where you don't post anything. But yeah, it's all going to be in one place, and instead of having to sign up for 10 different tools and remember all where everything is and try to get
Right.
things to talk to each other, and be spending a couple $100 a month. This one here is probably going to be like, I don't know, $49 a month, and it'll have everything in one place, and
That is awesome.
it's going to have everything, templates all preloaded. So it's going to have author websites preloaded, templates. It's going to have emails for like querying. It's going to have emails for getting ARC readers. It's going to have emails for all that kind of stuff already preloaded. And all you got to do is just go in and personalize them, and they'll be
Mhm.
ready to go, and everything will already be set up in sequences, so that if somebody opts into your newsletter, they'll just start getting the emails, and whatever time intervals you specify and all that. So yeah, that's on the horizon. That's coming up probably the beginning of the year. To kind of getting the content together for that right now.
That is
So
amazing, and I'd probably be a customer right away on this one because
yeah,
I can
yeah.
tell
I mean, you
'cause
can't beat it.
yeah,
I know that most authors are they're on a budget, right? And so
right.
they can't afford to. Most can't afford to be spending hundreds of dollars a month on
No,
tools,
yeah.
and they don't have the desire for the most part to be buried in the technology. So if I can make
Mhm.
something that's technologically easy for them to use, that already has all the content loaded into it, and they can get it for 1/10 of the cost. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. And I started out just on a path of creating this for myself, and then I'm like, you know what, everybody else needs this too. How can I scale this for other
Mhm.
folks? And then charge just enough to break even, maybe make a little bit of money on it, to kind of sweeten the deal, to make it worth my while to continue to improve on it over time. So yeah, that's kind of where that's going.
Well, I hope you make a lot out of it because it would take a lot of headache out. Because I can tell you,
I,
because I mean, I
Oh
use a lot of platforms, and in between Imaginarium, publishing work, my work as an editor, and my own writing. I mean, I am on loads of platforms, making posts in all kinds of different places. And Holly can tell you, I have like 30 tabs open my computer at all times. I mean, I literally have at least 30 tabs open. That's not
yeah,
exaggeration because
yeah,
I've
just
seen
because
your
I have to
computer,
bounce
Stephen.
back and forth.
yeah.
You probably
I,
can. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah,
Knowing
your
you.
computer's
Yeah,
like a NASA console.
yeah. It's it's very active.
it's begging, stop.
Yeah, usually, yeah, and then I overload it and I have to reboot because I've already loaded up, taxed the cache far too much on the,
Yeah,
on, on the system. But but I mean, something like what you're talking about would just, oh my god, that would make things so much simpler to be able to manage it from an interface like that. So
yeah.
yeah, we're
I
gonna have to have
figure.
you on immediately to talk about that when it gets launched. Because yeah, I think a lot of
Yeah, I'll
people want this.
probably have like I'm gonna be doing a vendor table at Imaginarium next summer for,
Hmm.
like I did this year for,
Fantastic.
selling and signing
Yeah.
books. But I'll probably have one half of the table be my books, and the other half will probably be promoting, that platform.
Well, keep
Oh
us
wow.
posted because we'll put out
Yeah.
some info on your platform when you're public, and yeah, we'll be glad to put it out. Because you're going to be there as an exhibitor, you're a guest. So yeah, we can put that out for you through the convention channels. So let
And I
us
That
have to
would
know.
say,
save that would save
Uh,
so many people so much time and
yeah,
headache. Well, let
it'd
mhm.
me
be a
pick your
no-brainer because
brain.
the way I look at it is I would make revenue on volume rather than
Right?
charging a lot for each person. I'd rather have a
Right.
lot of people paying a little bit, make it accessible for anybody that wants it. And I
Right.
gotta say, I've been to a few events this year, and I had never done. Imaginarium was the first book related event that I'd ever gone to. The Imaginarium, not this past year, but the year before, and I loved it. And so I went again this year, and I'll go again next year. And I went to StokerCon, I did BoucherCon, I did In Your Right Mind. I'm doing Superstars in, February, and I gotta say, Imaginarium by far is my favorite. It is the most family feeling, event out of all of them. They're all great in their own way. But Imaginarium, you go there and it feels like a family, which you can't make that up. It's
No,
very, very genuine.
That's what we want.
true.
Yeah,
And
that's definitely
that's what we're going to try to
is the most.
maintain.
Yeah,
We are
yeah,
going to strive to maintain that, even as we grow leaps and
yeah,
bounds, and one day get to that high number we want to be at. But we want to keep it to where we're just below where we cannot control that. We want to make sure
yeah,
all of our guests are approachable. All of
yeah,
our guests will always be approachable. We will make sure of that. They are vetted. I look
yeah.
at them very carefully. Me and
We
Steve
do our
both
best.
do.
Yeah,
Hmm.
And yeah,
yeah. You
we
got to
do our best
protect
with
that
that.
culture.
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely. Now you were wanting to pick his brain, Holly. I know you. I know you are. So, what were you saying, Holly? Right before that, you were wanting to pick Ed's brain about
I'm
book marketing.
picking Ed's brain about marketing. You know I am. Okay, here's my thing. Social media. How effective do you think posting every single day on social media is? Or should it be every other day? Should it be every third day? What is too much and what's not enough?
That's a great question. And so, to back up a little bit, the people always ask me, what's the best platform to post on? And my answer to that is whichever one you're going to post on consistently. And
Uh-huh.
if you're going to do it once a day, you got to stick to it. If you're going to do it once a week, you got to stick to it, because the people that are there are going to be expecting, they're going to have an expectation, right? And if you set the expectation of once a week, you got to deliver on that, because you're building trust, and building a relationship with the people that are there. That's rule number one. Rule number two is only 1 in 5 posts should have any commercial intent whatsoever. So, for every one post where you're asking people to do something, whether it's subscribe to something, or go look at something, or buy something, or whatever, you got to have 4 other posts that have nothing to do with anything commercial. So it could be a picture of a basket full of kittens. It can be, just a day in the life picture. It could be sharing a success story. It could be a feel good thing. It could be just a quote of the day, anything, right? With zero commercial intent. So you got to, no intent, no intent, no intent, no intent, commercial intent, no intent, no intent, no intent, no intent, commercial intent. And that's how you have to space your posts. So generally what I tell people is, if you're going to get, if you want to just keep it organized, you're going to want to maybe do like a happy Monday post, and then a thank God it's Friday post, right? With some sort of a saying. So that's 2 right there that are easy. Then maybe you have a quote of the day on Tuesday and a quote of the day on Thursday. And then maybe on Wednesday, you have a commercial intent post, right? And then you just repeat that every week, right? And if you have a software, it could be a Hootsuite, or it could be a social media Oxygen, or any of those softwares, or someday my platform, you can then take those posts and just schedule them. Like I've got hundreds of little thumbnails that I have in folders, right? That I'm going to be loading into that software, that people will be able to just use, right? Because it'll already be there. Like quotes of the day, right? You could do a quote of the day every Tuesday and Thursday. Boom, that's 2 days a week right there for the whole year. Just load them up. Then you get a Happy Monday post. Boom, every Monday, same thing, load it up. And then every Friday, thank God it's Friday. So that right there, is 4 posts a week without even having to think about it. And then you just load up your commercial intent ones, like, hey, subscribe to a newsletter, hey, sign up for this, hey, do this, do that. The problem a lot of folks do is they bombard people with commercial intent all the time, and that
Right.
ends up driving people away. You
Yep.
get people unsubscribing. You get people just not
Yep.
paying attention, because they're like, "Up, here they come again. They're gonna try to get us to buy
Hard to
something, or
looking at it. Right.
try to
Right.
get us to sign up for something," and that's not good for anybody. It's not good for the person doing the marketing, and it's not good for the people receiving the marketing. So that's rule number two. As far as how often, back to number one, just like not only do you pick your platforms and then post, but you also got to pick how often, right? So if you're going to post every day, then post every day, but you got to have a plan, right? And it's a lot of people look at it as this nebulous black box that is impossible to decipher, and it doesn't have to be that way, right? You can reverse engineer it and say, all right, I'm going to think of this, systematically, and I'm going to just go and I'm going to spend a day creating, you know, um, 52 Happy Monday posts, and you're just going to go and you're going to Google and say, what are some author quotes, and then you're just gonna get all these author quotes, and you're just gonna in Canva paste those into a little thumbnail with a black background or whatever, and save that to a folder. Happy Monday post number one or quote of the day post number one, and you're just going to do that. And then, another thing, all the national holidays, you create one for every national holiday. There's more posts, and you just put these in folders, and so then they're there to use when you want them. I call those the bread and butter posts, right? Those are the bread and butter posts, the filler posts that are just special interest. And then you put those in there, and then you just kind of then have to do the creative stuff around it, right? Whether it's a commercial intent one, or something that is a newsworthy type of thing, or an award somebody got, or somebody's just got signed with an agent, or whatever, right? All that kind of stuff. So that's a great way to go.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's always tough to figure out, what kind of approach to take. Because not only do you have, the general approach, but also every platform has different strengths and weaknesses, and some platforms, will throttle certain things more than other things, and
Yeah.
and it changes. It changes. It's like, for instance, X used to be a very hashtag friendly place, and now it's like hashtags are very throttled on X, and it's
Yes.
yeah, and things change, and so yeah, it's tough to keep
They
up with.
do.
It could drive you nuts if you're not you don't have a passion for it.
Yeah, exactly. And some of them have different dimensions for the thumbnails. Some of them have different number of characters that can be used. So you got to make sure whatever system you use to schedule those posts can take if you upload a post once, that system is able to parse that and slice it up the right way so that each platform is serving it up. You don't end up with an image that looks all wonky or chopped because it's being adjusted on the fly by a platform. You want a platform that's actually going to resize it properly and make it look nice.
Very cool. Well, yeah,
Makes
we'll start.
sense.
Hey, Holly, we'll start having to do a Wisdom Wednesday post featuring Ed Downs like every week with some of these
There you go.
Yeah.
great kernels of insight. That's what
Yeah,
we need to
yeah.
do.
I'm happy to do it.
This is great, man. Great stuff. Yeah, because we didn't want to drive you nuts with picking your brain too much, but I do know a lot of authors are, it does get
Yeah.
overwhelming. I mean, how to approach it, what to do, how often, what platform, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely a bit
Yeah,
daunting.
because if somebody, we've all seen that. It's less and less today because people are learning about algorithms and more about it. But gosh, years ago, somebody came out with the new book, and it was like, they do the pre-release, and then for like 2 solid weeks, every single day, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book on
Yeah,
all
I
of their
remember
platforms, right?
that.
And then it's like, oh no, here they are again, and yeah. So people, I think, are getting better about that, but yeah, there's still, there is a thing as oversharing.
Mhm.
The buy my and doing people in. So yeah, spreading it out. I love that advice.
Yeah,
Yeah, another thing is whether you're paying for ads or doing social media posts, if there's certain things that you post on a regular basis, you need to change the thumbnail that you're using because people get what's called banner blindness, where if you keep using the same image over and over again, their eyes are just not gonna notice it anymore, especially in Facebook. So you need to change up the colors, you need to change up the
Oh wow.
layout, the images, things like that. If you're like whether it be a blog or a podcast or anything like that, you gotta switch it up enough so that the banner blindness doesn't set in, and especially on paid ads. A lot of people will set up paid ads, and then they never go in and swap out the images ever. And it's like eventually people just start ignoring it. They don't even notice it anymore. It
Yeah,
just becomes white noise.
definitely. Yeah, yeah, and I know what you're talking about because sometimes that's how I filter when I'm scrolling through things and seeing something that's similar to all the time. I definitely can relate to that. And but thank you, yeah, because I wanted to definitely get a little bit of coverage onto that part of your world because yeah, it's one that authors find mysterious, daunting,
Yeah,
and
daunting. That's the word
but
I was looking for. Yep, daunting.
critical, critical, especially in today's age where just sheer volume of releases coming out every week or month is just enormous, and how do you get
Well,
seen?
a lot of them too are introverts, right? A lot of authors are introverts. And it's hard for them to say, "Hey, I've got a new book coming out. Would you check it out?" Even once a week. That's tough for them. And that's where a good support system comes in. That's where you find great peers. Surround yourself um, with like-minded people that share your
Hmm.
vision. Get into a good critique group, a good writer group that you feel good
Hmm.
about. If you feel icky when you leave there, don't go back.
Hmm.
There are good, there are bad. If it's not right for you, don't force it. Find a group that's right for you, that you feels the best
Hmm.
fit, and yeah, build on that.
Yes. Yeah, and, you got the introverts, you got the extroverts, but now there's a new type that scientists are talking about called an otrovert, and it's an individual who um, are unable to join groups and prioritize themselves. And then there's another new one, not ambiverts, omniverts.
Yeah.
There's a new one that's both introvert and extrovert at the same time. In other words, they can be comfortable in either situation.
Me.
They can switch from
Mm.
one to the other very
Yep,
easily.
that
I
would
wish,
be
I
me.
wish,
That's
yeah.
kind of that's where we fall. I mean, but I need
Yep,
I need my introvert space sometimes, but then at other
yep.
times, I'm ready to, be public and, definitely interact with everybody. And,
And I'm
so yeah,
perfectly comfortable in both.
yeah.
Yeah, and I need to switch back and forth because I'll get burned out or tired on either one if I do it for too long. So I kind of need to
Right.
go back and forth. I need the quiet me time where I'm
Hmm.
not bothered by anybody. But then at some point need that. I get starved for that social interaction.
Yes. Yeah. Very
Yeah,
similar.
I
I'm
agree.
very similar. Yep. I
Yep,
understand
yep.
completely.
I get really exhausted. I'm an empath too, so it's
Oh yeah,
the
I can totally
I'm a
see that.
oh yeah, I'm definitely an empath. So it drains me, so I have to tuck in the corners or take a break from people. Yeah, I do like an imaginary. I disappear for a
Uh,
little bit and go
and
do what
then
I need
and
to do in
then
the
you see
background.
her marching through the hall with a pitcher of beer. Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
and then I'm like, whoa,
and
and
then
then
there's
yeah,
Holly in the
totally.
corner.
Yeah.
Holly in the corner, hugging herself, rocking back and forth.
Yeah.
And then
That's it.
next scene karaoke.
Right.
There he is. That's it. I'm up on
Exactly.
stage singing "Baby
Exactly.
Got Back," and yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So true. That describes it.
I love
But
it.
that's interesting. They're coming up with some new categories, yeah, that fit because I've always felt like I'm a mix of both myself.
hmm
So yeah, I'm
hmm
always trying to find the perfect term for myself, even. But yeah, that is interesting for sure. Now, what is coming up for you? Because I know you went to Imaginary and BoucherCon and things like that. So I know that you're gearing up for other exciting adventures. So what is coming up next in the world of Ed Downs as far as
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's see. I've got I'm doing a writing workshop, one of Michael's writing workshops, in November. And then in February, I'm doing Superstars event in Colorado Springs.
Mhm.
And then think that that'll be it until until Imaginarium. I'm not gonna do StokerCon this year. I did enjoy doing that, but I've got to be more selective about the events I go to, and Imaginarium's a non-negotiable for me. So
Well,
that
well,
one's
I'm
yeah.
honored because StokerCon is one of the great ones out there. So yeah,
Yeah, it
I
was
am
pretty
honored.
great. I mean,
Yeah,
I would do Thriller Fest, but that
yeah.
one's not a cheap one, especially it's in New York City
No,
in
they're
South.
not. That's what I keep telling people. It's like, yeah, when you go out to some of these conferences, they get crazy on some of the registrations. Like there's
Yeah.
week that Imaginarium was happening. There were 3 large writing conferences taking place. One was $500, one was 1,000, and one was
Yeah, we
Oof.
look.
$1,200 for the
We're
registration.
like, dear
The
God, and they're not going to
registration.
get half the programming. Not
And yeah,
half.
we did. We looked into it, and they didn't have the volume of
I'm like, oh
programming that
my
we
God.
had. And I was like, wow, and they're charging that. I was like,
Mm.
okay, but
That's why,
you know,
we've always want to
yeah,
stay to where
we're
we could be
trying to do as
affordable.
best we can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for all levels,
it's tough,
Yeah,
but
we
yeah,
do have to charge. Yeah, we do have to sell
yeah,
stuff because it costs a
oh yeah,
lot to put on,
oh
and
yeah, it's
we
a
are just
monster.
poor creatives like the
Yeah,
rest of the folks.
we
You
are indies ourselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
And
tough haul.
Imaginarium, I mean, you have
Yeah,
amazing guests like Steve Alton. That interview
yep.
it was Stave Alton at the event was
Rebecca,
amazing.
and another shout out for Rebecca. She did a fabulous job moderating that.
Mm.
It was
Yeah, she
awesome.
did.
it was
Yeah.
it was great.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
and I hope you do get to read the Meg series because in the Meg series they do go down to Antarctica, and I loved what Steve Alton did
Yeah.
with the critters.
Don't
The
give it away. I'm gonna read
no,
it.
no, well, there's going to be critters, so that's all I'm saying. But
Yeah.
what he does with the critters down there, it's a
He'll
lot of
enjoy.
I
fun.
love me some critters.
Yeah. Yeah, and of course, I know when you were talking earlier about the deep sea environment. There's plenty of that for you to enjoy.
Yeah.
Stephen, what is that movie that I watched or that show and then you were like, "What are you watching?" And then I told you and I restarted the whole thing and watched it over with you that involved that ship that got stuck in Antarctica. And they
Was
Oh,
were
that the Terror?
Terry, that's
yes,
it. Yes,
Yeah,
that
that
is
was
in the
great.
Arctic. I think that was in the Arctic that one
the
did.
Arctic. Yeah, it was the
Because that was
Arctic. Oh
because
my God.
that was based on that had some Inuit mythology in that
Yes,
as
there was a
far as
critter in
yeah,
that too.
yeah,
Oh,
I was going to make
very
sure Ed
cool.
had seen that.
Very
the
cool
Arctic.
monster. Very cool monster in that one. Yeah, based on some Inuit legends.
That's
Yeah,
called the Arctic.
yeah. That no,
Yep,
is it? It's called the
the
Terror. The
terror.
Terror.
The
The
Terror. Yeah,
show
yeah,
is called the Terror, but it's in the Arctic, not the
yeah,
Yeah.
Antarctic.
yeah.
Yeah, and
That was a great one. I did see that one.
that was a
Oh,
lot
that
of
was
fun.
creepy, man. That was
Yeah,
that was
sure.
wild.
It sure is. But folks, if you want a real treat, you need to get Frozen Echoes like today. So
There you
get out
go.
there if you want a great book.
Well, let me ask this, Ed, before we wrap this up, is do you have any plans or wishes to possibly turn it into a screenplay?
Ooh,
I would
ooh,
absolutely consider that.
yeah.
We had talked even about doing an audiobook version as well. Um, so we'll see if that materializes into something. But yeah, screenplay. Wow, that'd be just amazing. Yeah,
Yes, it would. That book would adapt really well to the screen. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I think that would be a great idea. But now, is there
It'd be
anything
fun.
else in our discussion tonight that we have not covered that you wanted to get the word out about? Because you've given us some great scoops. I love the new
Yes, thank
platform
you.
coming up, and
Yeah,
thank you. And
I
yes,
guess.
it's,
I mean,
but
I'd like to give a shout out to my wife Jeannie. She's always been very supportive and loving in my writing, and my two daughters Melissa and Jessica, and my English bulldog Winston Churchill.
yes,
So yeah,
I love that so much.
yeah.
yeah, I love that. Yes, especially Holly because
Please
she's
tell me he's got a toy cigar.
He does not, but he has a bow tie.
I'm gonna have to buy him a toy cigar.
I
yes.
should. I should get him one of those squeaky cigars, shouldn't I?
Yes, they make them.
I'm gonna see if I can find one. And I'll take a picture.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. That's hilarious. Get him to
Well,
chew
you
on
do
that.
know that, yeah, four-legged family members can attend Imaginarium. Just saying,
That's
folks.
right. Uh-huh.
Oh, really?
Our current venue, yes. Yeah,
Yeah, our
Albert,
kitties are in tow.
yeah, our kitties
Oh,
come with us.
excellent. Yeah, he's super friendly too. So
Yeah,
he would be like the
Uh-huh.
mayor.
yeah. So
And
this year,
they're more dog friendly than they are kitty friendly, but we get
Mhm.
by with the kitties because
Oh, that's
well,
great.
our kitties are well behaved though. They don't tear anything up, so we don't
no,
get in any
no.
trouble.
But we
But
do take Prince Leopold, and we got Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. So
yeah, they come
yeah,
with us. So yeah, we'll have to
Oh,
make
that's
sure you get to
awesome.
meet them next year because yeah, since you haven't gotten to meet them yet, yes, we'll have to bring you up to meet them.
the
The
tuxedo
Yes.
the
trio.
the literary cats, yes, very much so. But
Yes.
yeah, what?
Oh, I was going to say, and we want to meet Winston. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Think about
absolutely.
bringing Winston. That'd be a
Yeah,
blast.
Sir Winston Churchill.
that is awesome.
Fantastic. Love it.
Yep.
Love
Yes.
it.
Well,
And
thank
he loves being on the couch in the bed, and so in our house it's not a couch, it's his kingdom.
that sounds about right. That's how it
Yes.
is with ours, our
It's their
cats.
house. We just live there.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know a lot of people are put off by letting pets on the furniture, but we're a
No.
pet on the
yeah,
furniture kind of household.
yep.
I've got a cat here on the bed with me now. But my thing is with the kitties, where my butt sits, you can sit. Where my butt don't sit, you don't sit.
That's a good rule.
That's what we do. Yeah, they're not allowed on the counter or the stove. It's like if my butt don't sit there, you don't sit there, and
Yeah,
that's they're smart.
yeah,
That's
They know,
that's fair.
yeah.
and
We've
yeah,
we've trained them not to go up on the counters and stuff.
yeah.
So yeah,
Now, do they try our little patients once in a
yes,
while?
they
Yeah,
do.
they'll try to sneak it in there once in a
Oh,
while.
they
But yeah,
sneak in. They sneak around once in a while,
they
but
don't think you're looking.
yeah. And then you see that little outline of a paw print, and you're like, aha,
Ah,
Yes.
gotcha.
Yeah.
But
they're
Yeah, I
fun.
was I got the other day I got the final call for early registration for Imaginarium, and I got mine in just in time.
you did
Yep.
then, yeah,
Fantastic.
because that was
Yep.
right on the cusp here. But
Yep, I was not
glad
gonna
you
miss
made it.
that. Last year I missed that cutoff, so I was not gonna miss it this year.
Yeah, we put out, and like I said, we try not to be too obnoxious. We got so many
We're
guests to
trying not to
announce,
be too
so
obnoxious. Yeah.
we have a lot of posts about guests because
Yeah.
there are new guests coming aboard all the time, and we
All
have a
right.
long queue of people to announce. So we got a lot of guest posts, but we try not to just put out a million posts on things, like the tables. But we do try to get it out there enough that nobody misses that. But you'd be
The
Well,
amazed
early
how many
and the
birds.
people
great
love
thing
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is you guys mix it up. Like a lot of your posts are like announcements
Hmm.
about people that are going to be guests and people that are going to be,
Yeah.
attending in the event and all that. And then you'll put one in that that has to do with registration. So you're mixing it up. You're doing exactly what you should be doing.
Well,
Oh
thank
well,
you.
thank you.
That's
Yeah,
good
I
to
was gonna
know.
say.
Yeah, because we want
We-
to try to make sure everybody, because it kills me every year, and people are like, "Oh, I missed the early bird," and I'm like, "We put it there for our
How?
regulars,
Yeah.
to give them the best, rate," and kills me when they
We
miss
tried.
it. But we try to make sure everybody knows. So I'm glad you picked that up for sure. But yeah, thank you. This has been a great night.
That's okay.
I'm gonna turn it over to Holly to close things out with you. But thank you so much for being aboard tonight for your first of what I fully hope is going to be many guest appearances to come.
Well, thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, anytime,
Yes,
Ed.
and when you get your program
Yeah.
completed, if it's before Imaginarium, please let us know. Because as soon as we know, we'll get you
Yeah.
back on the show to promote this and talk
Hmm.
about it. And yeah, so we can get this out there to as many, in our field that we possibly can.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And you
And
never
I
know.
can't.
Holly and I may have to crash the retreat in November. We'll just show up and say, "Hey, Mike."
Oh,
Hey,
that would be really awesome. I'd love
he'll
to
he'll
see you guys.
he'll
I'm
run
gonna
us
be
out of it.
you guys live in Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're in
my
Lexington.
wife and I we're gonna be in Kentucky in October. We're going
where you
up
gonna
to
be?
she wanted to see that Noah's Ark thing up there.
Yep.
Oh
That's
my
in the
God,
northern
we're like,
Kentucky. We're
yeah,
not far.
I have to go there to go up to Indiana. I go right past
Yeah.
there
It's not
once
far at
a
all.
month. because
less than an
that's
hour from
where,
our
yeah, part of the
yeah.
grandkids are. My daughter's up there. My 90-year-old mother lives up there. So I'm back and forth. I just got back from a 2-week stint up
Mhm,
in southern Indiana. So I go
mhm.
right past the Noah's Ark thing on the way there. We're probably about an hour from there. But
Yeah,
yeah,
Oh,
we're in
nice.
Lexington. So
yeah,
yeah, hey, if you're buzzing
yeah. If you
back
can
through,
come by
man,
through Lexington, yeah, let us know.
let us know if you're close. We can
Mhm.
meet
Yeah,
you
we'll be coming.
somewhere.
We'll
I'd
be
love
coming
to.
from the south, from Raleigh. So
Mhm.
whatever
Okay.
path that takes us.
You should be coming through near us because yeah, coming through
Boy, it'd be
Central,
close.
we're smack in the middle of Kentucky. I mean, we're right in
Yeah.
center.
And you're
Yeah,
gonna have
yeah.
to go through Florence and all that, I would assume. So,
Yeah,
yeah, just give us yeah.
yeah.
Moon
Let us know.
says that D.L. Hearn says that Lexington is the second greatest city in Kentucky. But yeah, just yeah, let us know, man, if you're
Yeah.
coming back through, and we'll
Mhm.
meet you. We'll meet you on
Yeah.
interstate,
Awesome.
wherever you're close, and yeah, we could have some lunch or dinner or whatever,
Hey,
on your way through.
and Ed, we're
Yeah.
really high in now. We finally got one of the great Eastern United States franchises here. We got a Wawa finally, and I know that a lot of
Oh, a
folks,
Wawa.
yeah,
Our
a lot of
first.
folks out east love that that franchise, and we finally got one.
Excellent.
So
Yeah, Moon, do you have a Wawa in
yeah,
Louisville?
that's right.
I don't know if they do or not. They might.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, it's coming through. Yeah, they're I guess they're expanding, so they
That's
probably
when you
will.
know you've truly made it.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
He said, yeah, they're coming on Dixie.
yep,
Yeehaw.
Nice. Woo!
yep, they're taking
Coming to
over
the
Kentucky.
bluegrass tape. Well,
That's right.
see, then we could maybe eat at Wawa. I don't.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll try it out first.
Well, no, we'll find Ed something, a little more, just like a real nice sit down place. But
Yeah,
but
like a Wendy's or something.
yeah, yeah, the indie author budget. That's true.
No, I'll share. I'll get the dates over to you guys. I know
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're going up after we're driving up after work, so we'll be getting into Kentucky midnight on a Thursday, but we'll be driving home
Cool.
on a Sunday, so that might actually work out
yeah,
headed home.
Nice.
that would
Oh,
work.
that'd be
Yeah,
cool. That'd
I
be
can.
cool.
I have one. Yeah, one thing I may have to move just a little bit, but I can make that
Mhm.
work. Yeah, yeah,
Long as it ain't
absolutely.
during Scarefest, we'll be at
Yeah.
Scarefest in Lexington this year. But we're gonna
Hmm.
be there
Nice.
with the Vamp Chat crew. With
Yep,
this
we're gonna
gonna
be
be
in support of the
Band of
Vamp
Diva.
Chat crew.
Yeah, they're great. They're great people. I
Oh,
enjoyed
they're
meeting them at
legends.
Imaginarium.
Yeah,
So
they
it's like,
are. But all right, well, thank you so much, Ed, and yeah, Holly. Yeah, I guess you do the honors of closing out with
yeah.
amazing Ed Downs.
Thank you, Ed. And yeah, man, stay in touch and let us know.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this. This was very exciting. I was nervous at first, but this was just a
Oh no.
wonderful experience.
Never be nervous around us at all.
Never.
We're just as goofy as the next folks. So we're
Yeah.
My kind of
and,
people.
and that's right. That's right. And we appreciate you, Ed, and all that you have shared and continue to share with us. So you have a great evening.
Yeah, you too. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All
Night, night.
right.
Bye.
All right, listener world. Join us next Wednesday at the same place, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. Another great guest, another great chat. For the rest of the week, be creative. Night all.